What's up, YouTube friends? Now it is an extremely cold day here today in Nebraska. In the beginning of the month we had 50-degree weather, and today it's 3 degrees. If you have to be outside, it's very important to stay nice and warm. So today I'm going to show you how to make a fleece scarf that'll keep you nice and toasty in these Arctic temperatures. So all you're going to need to make this scarf is a ½ yard of fleece. You're also going to need your sewing machine with matching thread. I'll be using blue today, and some pins or clips. So let's get started. So the first thing that I did was go ahead and trim my fleece down to 15 inches wide by the width of the bolt. Now you want to go ahead and cut off any of the salvages. Next you want to open up your fabric so that the right side is facing up. And then we're going to fold it in half with the pretty sides touching. Now if you have trouble finding out what the pretty side is on this fleece, the right side is usually more bright and vibrant, and the back kind of has a fuzzy, hazy look to it, and it's not as crisp. Next I'm going to take my ruler here, and from one edge I'm going to measure up 4 to 6 inches. Now this is going to be the fringe on the scarf, so it's totally up to you how long you want it. I think I'm going to do 5. So I'm going to stick a pin right at the 5-inch mark, just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. So I'm just going to measure up 5 inches on this end also and put a pin. So now I'm just going to go ahead and continue to pin probably every hand's width apart between my 2 pins here. Now fleece does tend to shift a whole lot, so the more pins the better. Once you have it all pinned together, I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine, and I'll be using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to start right here at my pin, 5 inches away from the end here, and I'm going to backstitch. And then I'm going to sew all the way down till I get to my last pin here, 5 inches away from the end, and backstitch. Alright guys, so I'm over here at my sewing machine. I'll be using a 1/2 inch seam allowance and a straight stitch, and my length is a 2. So you just want to backstitch right here at your first pin. I'm just going to sew until I get to my last pin. If you have a walking foot, you can go ahead and throw it on your machine, and that'll make it a lot easier. Alright guys, so I'm coming up to my final pin, so I'm just going to backstitch right when I get there. And break your thread. Alright guys, so now you just want to turn your tube right sides out. And now we're just going to want to go ahead and top stitch this. But I want this to lay nice and flat. So here's my seam running along the side here. And I'm going to make sure that that's laying right on the side. So I'm going to stick my first pin here 5 inches from the end again. And then go ahead and pin about every hand width apart. And I'm going to do that the entire length of the scarf. And I'm going to stop about 5 inches away from the bottom here, just like before. Now when I have the seam side all pinned together, I'm also going to go along to the other side here, where the fold is, and pin. That way this will lay nice and flat when we go to top stitch it. And like I said, if you have a walking foot, this will make it a lot easier. Now you could also use your wonder clips at this point. So when I get this all pinned together, I'm going to take this back over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to bump up my length of my straight stitch to a 3. And then with the 1/4 inch seam allowance, I'm going to go ahead and top stitch all the way around. When I get here to my pins that are 5 inches away from the sides here, I'm going to stop with my needle down, raise my presser foot, and I'm just going to sew all the way across. When I get about a 1/4 inch away from the side here, I'll stop with my needle down, raise my presser foot, and keep top stitching. Don't forget to back stitch at the beginning and the end. So when I get this all pinned together, I'll meet you over at the sewing machine. Alright guys, so I'm coming up to my other end here, and the same thing. I'm going to stop at the needle, or the pin rather, with my needle down, raise my presser foot, and sew. When I get a 1/4 inch away, stop with your needle down, raise your presser foot, and spin. And like I said, if you don't feel comfortable eyeballing this straight line, go ahead and mark it with some chalk or something like that. But we're going to go ahead and fringe the end here, so even if you get a little wonky, no one will ever know. And don't forget to backstitch at the end. Alright guys, so now it's the fun part. We're going to finish off our scarf with our fringe. Now this should measure about 7 inches when we're all done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut every inch. Now I'm going to cut to about a 1/4 or 1/8 of an inch away from our seam right here, making sure I do not go through it. So the first cut I'm going to do is right down here at the fold. Now with some sharp scissors, go ahead and just cut. And I'm just going to eyeball it. And it should look like this. Now I'm just going to flip it over to the other side and do that one. Alright guys, so now our easy fleece scarf is all finished up, and it matches perfect with the hats we made a couple weeks ago. And I'll know I'll be the cutest thing out on those bunny slopes. Now of course you can make these any length that you want. The 58 to 60 inch length, which is the width on the bolt, is a pretty good standard size. Now I'm a pretty tall guy here, so I may want to go a little bit longer, so in that case you would have to sew 2 pieces together. I hope you like this project on how I made this easy fleece scarf. If you like this project and want to see more of my projects, go down below and hit the big red subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. If you'd like to be notified when I post a video, go ahead and hit that bell button. If you have a question about this video or any of my other videos, or would just like to leave a suggestion for a future upcoming video, leave me a comment. Feel free to share this video across your social medias. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay warm, and I'll see you next time.